All right, shalom, shalom. Want to give all praises, glory, and honor be to the Most High God for another Sabbath day of rest. So Shabbat shalom to those who are keeping the Sabbath today, as well as a happy early Shabbat or, belated Shabbat to those who may keep the lunar Sabbath. This is Brother Yeshaya from the Hopeful Elect, just coming to bring you all another videological breakdown, I guess, or reaction video started by our brother right here on the screen to my left or right, however you viewing it, Brother Asrael. But again, the lesson is titled Facts Over Feelings, and it's going to be like, again, another reaction video, but just to a situation whereas we can see that someone is, being held accountable for something. And we can see that, someone is kind of feeling some type of way about it. Not necessarily in the sense of, you know what I'm saying? It's more like a, what do you call it? Shalom to the brother Danal.
Shalom.
The word I'm looking for just left my head, but it's more so in the sense of like somebody kind of being dismissive, right? In a sense, they're not truly addressing the main pain point. They're just kind of going around, what you're saying to address something else. And a lot of times in life, when we deal with people like that, I'm not talking about us three just being on the street. I'm talking about everyone in general. When you deal with people who kind of dismiss what you're saying and try to, segue into saying something else or addressing a different point, it does bother you, a lot. Like if you ask your wife, like, or if you ask your husband, like, wives, if you ask your husband, hey, why didn't you take the trash out? And he said, and he say if he responds with something like, why are you yelling about me not taking the trash out when you know I take the trash out all the time? Like it's always something like that, kind of gets under people's skin. And oftentimes one could say that just shows a lack of accountability, but we're going to watch this video and I'll let the people address it for them or assess it for themselves. And we'll just bring out some scriptures to support, the topic, facts over feelings, right? So first, let me share my screen. That would be nice. Where I'm at. How I get him out. Right here. Also share tab audio, Con. Can y'all see this? Okay. Cool. Let me try to scroll. I guess it won't let me scroll, so this is just how it's going to show.
What you want to do?
So real quick, what you just seen there is you just seen this DB right here communicate with the other DB that you seen walking down. And pretty much asking them what you want to do. So in the game of football, I just want to give a quick analysis or a quick breakdown of what happens with stuff like that. In the game of football, especially playing defensive back, one thing you always are coached to do is to communicate with one another, about the coverage that you're running, communicate, about, hey, I'm gonna be over here, I'm gonna be over there. Like, that's what you have to do, because a lot of times in football, defensive coordinators may call combo coverages. They may call box coverages. They may call a multitude of different coverages that, as players on the same side of the field, you have to communicate about what your assignment is. Or if you know that you have a combo coverage with somebody, y'all doubling somebody, you got to communicate with them. Hey, if he go inside, you take that, and I'll jump out. You know what I'm saying? Different things like that. So that's what you just kind of seen right there. The DB just trying to talk to him out, say, hey, what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? So let me start the video over just for those who may not understand like why he said something right there to that guy. I gotta go forward.
I'll tell the truth later.
What you want to do? Damn! You gotta come talk. You not only yourself up, me up. It's more to being a football player than just playing. I'm just trying to tell y'all that they will cut your ass because we not communicating right. We giving up big plays.
Here you go, drink.
This gonna be a live game, brother. We gonna give up big plays if we don't communicate right. I'm just no. It ain't no be a settle down. Look, you give a big plan. Okay, so what I'm telling. Listen to me. You're not listening to me. You listen to me. You're not listening to me.
I'm listening to you. Just tone it down.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Just listen to me, bro. Just listen.
I'm listening, cuz.
So right now we can already see that number 43 kind of has a problem with the way brother number 31 is bringing to his attention his mistakes. And you kind of want to be somebody who doesn't kind of act like that, especially in the moment where somebody is giving you correction, right? And I read the comments of this post, and a lot of people obviously have not played sports at all. Neither have they truly understood, the business side of when you're playing an NFL team or an NBA team, because at the end of the day, all number 31 is trying to tell them, like, hey, we got a job to do. And if we don't communicate, they're not just going to cut you, they're going to cut me too. We both going to be out of a job. But 43 is more like, I hear what you're saying, bro, but calm down. Like, and me personally, as a former athlete myself, number 43 is somebody that you kind of don't want on your team, because when you have a veteran giving you some nuggets of knowledge and you just kind of like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but calm down. Like, you got to understand that's not conducive to you becoming a better player overall, right? And I'm not going to continue to ramble on about it, but I want to read some scripture real quick before we move forward with the video, right? So,
come on, man. And what's crazy is, in sports, all that is number 43. All he was doing was saying, "Yeah, you embarrassing me right now." Because at the end of the day, if you play sports, that man was calm. The way he was talking to Buddy was calm and polite, right? You ain't really see nobody really get on you for real. And if you play sports, you know what we talking about. But Buddy was calm. All that is, I know you mic'd up right now. You putting me on blast. Even if it's in a respectful way, I'm going to need you to stop, because he was embarrassed. That's really what it sounded like to me. Because the guy, and I think you guys can agree just watching the video, right? When he started talking to 43, it was very respectful, and it seemed kind of calm. He didn't seem like he was yelling at all to me. But Khan,
in the comments, they were saying, yeah, make your point, but, you don't got to keep harping on it. But like you said, I played football before, bro. I've gotten chewed out by teammates before. Like, I remember one time before a playoff game, my high school junior year. So it wasn't a playoff game. It was a game for us to win. We had to win the game to get to the playoffs. We was playing Butler High School. Now, me, I'm a different type of person when it comes to like pregame. Like pregame, I just don't be sitting around chilling, listening to music, focusing on my, like, not that I'm not focused on my job, but more so like I like to, get up and get loose, move around. So I was that type of guy. And this particular day, man, I was horse playing with a teammate in the locker room. Now, mind you, we was, we was stretching, then it led into us horse playing. I felt some type of way about it initially, though, because the teammate who got on me didn't get on old dude, who started all this commotion. But nonetheless, I had to take it on the chin. And he was yelling at me, telling me to go sit down. Go sit down. We got to win this game tonight. You playing too much. Go sit down. So I went and sat down. It changed my countenance for sure. But then before the game, I later came back to him and I dapped him up and I said, I understood. I understand, bro. I understand. So it's one of those things, like, in the moment, yeah, it's going to like make you like feel some type of way. But again, you want facts over feelings. And if somebody's telling you something, and like the brother Danal said, in sports, I've seen, and brothers can attest, they've seen a lot, worse situations where somebody's correcting somebody in a lot more disrespectful tonality, you know what I'm saying, and use of words. And this is definitely light as compared to a lot of the things that you see in sports. But nonetheless, you always have to remember that pertaining to the truth, pertaining to life, if somebody's giving you sound wisdom, you know what I'm saying, hearken unto that, because it doesn't matter how the word is brought forth. You have to receive the message more than allow the way they're bringing the message to affect your spirit, right? But can a brother read this real quick? What I have on the screen?
I'll read it since Austin is muted. Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend.
Right. Iron sharpens iron, man. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Now, you may say, well, he didn't sharpen his countenance. He kind of made his countenance kind of like defeated. Well, it's more than countenance, just, you know what I'm saying? I guess you could say moral attitude. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, the brother right here is correcting his football mindset or his football countenance about how to communicate on the field, because it's one thing to look big and strong, and it's another thing to actually be big and strong, you know. And the brother 43, he looks like a huge athletic guy on the football field, but that's only half the battle in the game of football. Being big is a plus, but it's not the thing that's going to carry you far. If you big but you have no skill, you're not going to make it. If you big and you have skill but you have no work ethic, you're not going to make it. You can have all the talent in the world, and talent will take you far, but it'll only take you so far to those who have talent and hard work. It'll only take you so far to those who have talent, hard work, and are coachable. And if you're somebody that can't even get coached by your peer, somebody who's fighting for a job just like you're going to have a tough time of being taught by somebody who already has their job secured, right? A lot of these defensive coordinators, a lot of the owners, head coaches, general managers, they're looking for the guys like 31 who can come and bring some wisdom and experience to the locker room, right? And I did my homework. 31 is no longer in the league, but he had I guess you could say he bounced around a lot too. And there's a lot that goes into that again. But at the same time, just judging by this clip alone, in this particular moment when he's coaching up number 43, he's right. You know, and a lot of times, a lot of us in life respond like 43 when we should really understand the full purpose, right? But let me go to my next precept real quick. Dang.
Khan, and you know, when you think about our forefathers and our foremothers, man, some of them, like the prophets and the priests, they took situations more serious than others did, because the ones that had the encounters, the close encounters with the Most High, right? They knew how serious it was, and they knew, hey, look, if y'all don't get y'all act together, it's not only gonna be you that's punished, but I'm gonna get punished. And like you said, the brother was already moving around from team to team, and he was already on thin ice with the league, right? A lot of these prophets that you read about, a lot of these priests and a lot of these chosen people that were used in the Bible, they had witnessed God's judgments. They had witnessed these things. They seen visions. So they're like, man, I'm already on thin ice if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. But if y'all don't do what y'all supposed to do, and we both gonna get fired, we both not gonna make it, right? And so even in today's society, when you see certain people approach you in different ways, don't just dismiss them and change the subject because you don't like the way they're approaching you. You don't know what that person's been through or what that person's seen or what that person knows that's affecting the way that they're delivering it to you, right? Everybody is so emotional and in their feelings nowadays to where the message at hand is just not the message no more. It's how the message is being given, right? And if we look at some of our foremothers and our forefathers, and if they were to get the message from Jeremiah, we saw how that acted, right? Jeremiah told them to do something. They didn't like the way Jeremiah was saying it. They didn't believe in what Jeremiah was saying about them because they was full of pride, and we seen their downfall. Same thing. All the prophets that sent warnings, right? And so we got to be able to take heed no matter how it comes out of somebody's mouth, because they may be in an uproar because of urgency. For example, right? And I'll cut this short. But for example, when we go out and we play pickup basketball, for example, somebody might be at the gym already and they played 2 or 3 games and lost, right? And they lost to this team because the other team had a good shooter on the team. Then that player might have some friends that come in the gym later on. They don't know that man is a shooter, right? They get on your team. You just lost to him 3 times and you tell your friends, hey, he a shooter. But they didn't watch him. They didn't watch him shoot the lights out the gym. So what they do, they lax off of him. He gonna have to prove me. He gonna have to and they don't take your advice, even though you might be screaming on the court, he a shooter, get up on them. And then they mad at you because you yelling at them in front of everybody else. But the thing is, some people have the wisdom and the experience to yell at you, and you got to be able. That's why, as the video goes on, you'll see, right? Some people can pull that rank on you, and you just got to be humble and submit to it.
Con, hey, if I can get a brother to read this on the screen real quick.
Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Right, like the brother just said, the prophets of the Bible, when you having these encounters with the Most High God, and he's giving you these things to speak, if you don't do your job, you're going to get killed too. That's the same thing it says in Ezekiel 33 when the Lord commanded us to warn them, right? And he said, if I send a message, if I blow the trumpet, right? Or if I give you a message, right? And you blow out the trumpet and let these people know what is coming, not only will they die, but their blood will be on your hands, right? The same thing in this situation where you got the brother who's playing DB and he's trying to tell this, listen, pay attention to the words I'm finna use. Undrafted rookie. This undrafted rookie, he's trying to correct him about what he should be doing on the field. He's realizing, like the brother brought to light earlier, that he's already on thin ice. So if this guy right here doesn't correct this guy, not only is this guy going to get cut, but this guy's going to get cut too because his leadership is poor. I can't rely on this guy to be a leader to the youth because he won't say nothing when he messes up, right? And like that's why, again, when you read Isaiah 51, it's important. Cry aloud, spare not. You're supposed to cry aloud. It didn't say cry quiet. It didn't say whisper. It didn't say, hey, come over here. Let me tell you something. I'm just gonna keep this between me and you, but you messing up on it. Like, no, it said cry aloud, spare not, right? And what does it say next? Lift up thy voice like a trumpet. This is how we have to be in the truth. This is why you see people on the street corners with microphones yelling and screaming. This is why you have people talking so great, you know what I'm saying, when they're trying to bring out the word, because that's what the prophet, the Most High told the prophet Isaiah to do, to tell us. We should be doing this, crying aloud and sparing not, and lifting up our voice like a trumpet, so that we can show our people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sins, right? You got to be somebody that's not afraid to do this right here. And if you're not afraid to do this, then that means that when you bring out that word and people don't receive it and they face their judgment, you don't have to worry about their blood being on your hands. The same way in this guy, you can clearly see from this Hard Knocks clip, right? Because that's where they get these clips from. It's an NFL, it's a series called Hard Knocks, and they do it for every team for, I guess you could say, preseason training camp, right? But when you see stuff like this, you're gonna even though they both didn't have great careers, you can look at this guy and say, well, he did what he was supposed to do in this situation. So if he got cut before him, you can rest assured that he wasn't losing sleep at night because he tried to tell this young guy, hey, you got to listen. But the young guy was more focused on talk to me nicely, right? And we got to get out of that as a society and as a people, a nation of people.
Come on, man. You know, speaking about us on the street corners, there's no respect to persons. You know what I'm saying? Some people feel some type of way because they see people on the street corners yelling at folks. And, you know, sometimes it causes adversity and controversy. But there's also videos where you see brothers lifting up their voice, right, and yelling, so to speak. And the person that they're talking about is receiving what they're saying. And they're just sitting there and they're just attentively paying attention to everything that they're saying, even though the person is lifting up their voice. So it can be done on both sides, man. As a student, right, you shouldn't really have to matter how the word is coming to you or not, right? How the instructions are coming to you. It's just your job to take heed to the instructions, right, and move about your day, right? Sometimes we, even in school, public school, right, we all had classes One, in the classroom, let's be honest, when the teacher is standing up in front of the classroom, 9 times out of 10, that teacher is speaking with a voice of volume, right? Everybody turn your page to chapter 13. We're gonna read verse 2, okay? She's lifting up her voice, right? And so just like a teacher would do that, why are you guys looking at us weird when we do it out on the street? You know what I'm saying? The point of crying aloud, sparing not, so everybody can hear what you're saying clearly and concise. You know what I'm saying? It's not something personal, but just like this brother right here, I'm talking to you. We're on the football field. There's probably spectators. You got a helmet on, right? I have to speak some type of loud so you can hear what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? These things make sense. Pecan.
Right. Because you got to think about it in a classroom setting, man, people will be like, why are you talking so loud? But at the end of the day, the teacher is commanding the classroom as they're supposed to. The same way when we're on the street corners, we have to command the attention of the people because there's so many things that can drown us out if we're sitting out there talking like little dogs, talking like puppies. If we're sitting up there saying, if Brother Denal is teaching, right? And I'm only saying that because it's his turn to teach today. But if Brother Denal is bringing the word out and he's like, Brother Yeshaya, give me the book of Isaiah chapter 5. And then you got Jake riding by on one of them little spiders playing that loud music, cruising down the street. How am I supposed to hear that?
Not
How
only
am I supposed
that,
to hear him call a precept if he's sitting up there whispering and you got Jake riding by on their motorcycles trying to cruise and look cool?
not only that, man, when you talking to somebody, just like in the classroom, the teacher's raising her voice, one, so she can be understood. You can hear everything she's saying, so she ain't got to repeat herself, right? That's another thing we do. We don't like repeating ourselves, but we will, right? Two, right? She's raising her voice, so she's louder than anybody else that decides to talk in the classroom. Also, when she commands the room with her voice and she's speaking loud, subconsciously as a student, you're in your mind thinking, well, let me not interrupt what she's saying, right? It defers from distractions. Same thing we do out on the street. When we speaking loud, it defers other people from being a distraction. Even if somebody walks up, right, that disagrees, they're gonna wait till we're done speaking because they see that we're talking and we're commanding the room, so to speak. So come on, man, all that stuff is for a reason.
Right. Now let's play the rest of this video real quick. We'll get some more scriptures.
You're a rookie, right? You're a rookie, right? You're undrafted, right? Guess how slim your chance is. This, just like mine, right?
I understand.
So what I'm telling you is, there's not going to be a settle down. There's not going to be oh, that's my bad. They're going to cut your ass and we ain't going to have a job. They're going to cut my ass and we ain't going to have a job. You feel me?
I got you.
That's how real it is. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I need you to understand. You've been doing this the whole camp. I'm talking to you like a man. We've been doing it the whole camp.
Settle down.
The whole camp.
Okay, settle down.
Bro, listen, you just need to listen, bro.
I'm listening.
Hold up.
What you mean?
Hey, listen.
Oh, listen, bro.
Chill out.
So again, you can see that this guy obviously has a bigger issue with tonality more than he does understanding his assignment on the football field. And if you're that type of person, you're not going to make it in whatever profession you're trying to make it at, because it's not about the way somebody says something. It's more about what they say. And that should, I'm not saying, and listen what I'm saying. I am not saying that you should never try to exhort people to deliver a message in a more fruitful way. That's not what I'm saying, because we talk about that all the time. You know what I'm saying? About how to approach people, when and when not to be, an austere man for the Lord, when and when not to bring out, you know what I'm saying, like yelling at somebody. There's always a time and place for all that. So I'm not saying that there isn't a better way to communicate with people, or people should just focus on the message all the time, regardless of how somebody says it. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that oftentimes we as a people can get in our feelings and emotions over the way somebody says something, and then it causes us to forget what they're actually saying, because the message is a lot more important than the delivery, right? You may get mad at the UPS man or the FedEx man for throwing your package on the porch. At the end of the day, you still got it. At the end of the day, they still brought it to you. You may complain about it, but what's more important? You know what I'm saying? The way they threw the package, or the fact that you received it in the timely manner, or the fact that you received it at all. Because a lot of people, they be in the mail checking for days and not even realizing that, or their package is on back order. You know what I'm saying? So it's always important. It's always important to remember, hear the message first. And if you, after you have received the message, if you have a problem with that person about the way they delivered it to you, do it at a time that's more convenient, not necessarily in the moment trying to tell them, I get what you're saying, but calm down.
Calm, man. You know, that sidebar, that's a good life skill to have in everything, right? If you learn at an early age, it doesn't matter who's saying it or how they're saying it, but you learn how to listen to what people are saying. That'll take you far in education, right? Because you know, you're not all the time you're gonna get a teacher that teaches the way that you want them to teach in school, right? But you still got to get the grade or you're gonna fail. So you can learn that in education. You can learn that on the job, right? Whenever whatever job or occupation you have, you might have managers, supervisors that talk to you not like how you desire. You could learn that when you're married with your spouse, right? And that'll save in a lot of arguments because you know sometimes people get heated and raise their voice, and then you get heated because they raise their voice. But if one person just listened to what somebody was saying, a lot can be avoided. You can learn that a lot. You can use that a lot with kids, right? Because a lot of times kids don't know how to convey their feelings without saying something a certain way. So that's a good life skill to pick up in general, man. And that's something that our people, the Israelites, lack because of pride, man. And so what you saw in that video was just pride. You know what I'm saying? He knew that he was being chewed out in front of all these people. In his mind, he's trying to make a good impression on all these people like he's a real man, right? And then the man is chewing him out. He's not feeling like a real man. And instead of listening to what the dude's saying so he can keep his job, he'd rather just, you know, stand on his pride and act like it don't matter, act like he got it under control.
Con, a good skill, man. And that's why, again, we say it's important. Again, there is a time and place to yell and rebuke. There is a time and place to give a soft rebuke. But at the end of the day, the time and place is always to receive the message, right? Receive the message 100% of the time, right? 100% of the time. Don't focus on the way it's being brought out. Maybe the Lord had it brought out to you that way and delivered to you that way to teach you to focus on the message more importantly than the way it's delivered, right? So with that being said, can a brother, if you don't mind, read this on the screen right here?
Come, 1 Timothy 5:20. Them that sin rebuke them before all, that others also may fear.
Right. This is going back to when we said put evil away from among you, right? You had to go stone people in front of people so that way the rest of Israel could see and they know not to do that same sin. The same way that Paul is instructing right here to say, them that sin rebuke before all, so that they also may fear. Given that rebuke that he was given to that player in front of the coaches, in front of other players, is good. So that way other players who were in the same position fighting for a roster spot on thin ice in the league, they know not to make the same mistakes that 43 was making, right? And that's what you're supposed to do. People don't like being put on Front Street, but sometimes it's necessary that you're put on Front Street so that it'll cause you to actually truly change, right? Your sins being revealed is a good thing in a lot of situations. What's done in the dark will come to light. Now, I'm not going to say it's a good thing because if you sin all the way up until the day of the Lord, your sins being revealed in that day, that's not a good thing because it ain't no chance for you no more. But we're saying now, all the way up until that time comes, count it all joy when someone wants to reprove you. Because one thing I learned as a player, it's not when a coach is chewing you out every day that you should be worried. If a coach is always on your behind, he's always yelling at you, or a teammate. If a teammate's always on your behind, you could do this better, it's not always necessarily something that you should worry about. You should actually enjoy that. It's when coaches start going silent and not saying anything. It's when players start going silent and not saying anything. That's when you should be worried. You should be worried when there's a famine of the word and you're no longer hearing the voice of the Lord no more. You should be worried when you hear that type of stuff, right? Now, let me go to one more. I'm going to go to account real quick, right? And let me see. Yeah, okay, we can read one through. I ain't gonna. I wanted to just kind of like make it short, sweet, to the point. But Brother Azrael, can you read this 2 Samuel chapter 12, starting at verse 1, and you're gonna read through verse number 5.
2 Samuel chapter
12.
Chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor.
Now, Salakia, real quick before you keep reading, what we're reading right now is an account where somebody's holding somebody accountable, right? Somebody's holding somebody accountable in this account, right? The one person is a great man. The other person, you know, he ain't in the spotlight like that, but he has a duty and responsibility to this great man to be a great friend and to hold this man accountable, right? Remember 1 Timothy 5:20, them that sin rebuke before all, right? All right, keep reading.
Verse 2. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat as his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter.
Con. Keep reading.
And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spread to take of his own flock and of his own herd, to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him. But took the poor man's lamb.
But he did what?
But took the poor man's lamb
and
dressed it for the man that was come to him.
So you see right here that this is something that you have to pay attention to, right? It came a traveler unto the rich man, right? And he didn't want to take of his own flock and his herd, right? But he took the poor man's lamb. So if you got a guy who, for instance, right, this is why a lot of people get mad at the federal government, because they feel like a lot of the people in Congress, on Wall Street, you know, people who can influence the stocks and bonds of this country and can make profit off of it, they feel like you're making the rich richer and the poor poor. And that's literally what's going on in this example that Nathan is giving into David, right? He's literally an example of making the rich rich and the poor poor, because I'm taking from the poor because I don't want to use my own, right? Now let's keep reading on that.
Verse 5. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die.
So it's easy to see right now that Nathan is telling David an account of something that happened, and you see David's reaction. But if you read 2 Samuel chapter 11, you'll see that Nathan is doing this because David is the rich man in this case, right? David was the one who seen Bathsheba, had Uriah the Hittite killed, and took his wife, right? He took from the poor man. David is his man. He had wives. He was a king. He had great fame and notoriety in Israel, in really all the world. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, he was a king that was known for being the king over the children of Israel. Yet he seen this woman, and he took from this man the woman, and he had the man had his life taken. So what you're seeing, or what we're reading right now, is you're seeing an account where Nathan is reproving David, or better yet, holding him accountable, right? Now let's see how David responds. We're going to jump down to verse number 6.
Verse 6. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity.
Right. So David is literally the same. What is that? Hold on. Let's hold that real quick. Right. Let's hold that real quick. I want to go to somewhere real quick. Matthew, let me see. I want to say it's 7. Let me make sure real quick. No. This ain't what I want. Hold on. Let me hold that real quick. Hold that thought, because I want to gather some precepts to go with it, and it ain't gonna be long. Right. 7 in verse 1. It is 7, but I started at if it can pull up. Matthew 7. Matthew 7. So let me share this tab real quick. Brother Denal, can you read these first two? Darn. Can you read these first two verses real quick right here?
Matthew chapter 7, and starting at verse number 1. Judge not that ye be not judged.
Uh-huh.
For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged.
Right.
And with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again.
So you have to realize that this is not saying that people get a misunderstanding of what this is actually saying, right? Because in 1 Corinthians 6:2, it says, know ye not that the saints shall judge the world? So why is Paul giving the advice? Paul learned from Christ. So why is Paul saying that the saints shall judge the world? But Christ right here is saying that judge not lest ye be judged. And people get misunderstood what that is saying. So they tell us, oh, well, you're not supposed to be on the highways and byways telling people to repent from their sins. No, this is what it's saying. It's going into the law where it commands people that if you get found guilty of a crime that you said someone else committed, whatever you would have it done to them is what's going to be done unto you. That's what Christ is giving an example of right here when it says, judge not that ye be not judged. Because that's why it says, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. Right?
I can say something too.
Go ahead.
You know, the King English really throws people off. But what this is really trying to say in verse 1 is, do not judge and think because you're judging that you won't be judged. Because at the time, the Pharisees were sitting in their high seat and they were judging people. And because they had the office of being able to judge people, they thought they were untouchable. Just like a lot of people that have power today, they think they're untouchable because they're calling the shots. A lot of supervisors, a lot of CEOs, a lot of governors, a lot of senators, presidents, whatever. They think because they can call the shots that they'll never be judged. But he said, don't think that you won't be judged just because you're doing the judging, because whatever you judge, just know what's coming back to you. He's saying, hey, what goes around comes around. Right. And that's what it's trying to say. It's not saying that you can't judge nobody. It's just saying, watch how you judge, because however you judge, that's what's going to be brought back to you.
Be not a hypocrite.
Right.
If you're gonna teach and you're gonna judge people on certain matters, make sure you're doing the same thing.
Right. Galatians 6 and I want to say 6:1 says the same thing. Right. You got to be kind of careful about, you should rebuke somebody, but you got to do it with, a humble spirit, because the same spirit that you rebuke somebody with, hey, you can get caught up in the same snare and it happened unto you. Right. And that's literally the brothers said it clear. That's literally what's happening in this chapter of 2 Samuel right now. David is issuing out a judgment. Hey, he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no pity, not even realizing that this literally is about him, right? So let's keep reading verse 7.
Look, so I wanted to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
In Matthew 7 and verse 1, also, another thing that goes on is people look for that office. People look for the chance to get to judge somebody because they think they can start doing folly. They think that, okay, because I got this position, right, nobody can say nothing about me, right? And so that's why it's saying judge not. It's really saying do not judge just so you won't be judged, because that's not the case. You're going to be judged. Just because you judging, just because you got that office, that don't mean that you're not going to be judged. You will be judged. And so don't look for that position just so you can escape judgment. But Khan.
So let's go back to 2 Samuel, right? Now start at verse 6 again.
Verse 6. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
What?
Thou art the man.
So Nathan just reproved David and said, you are the man. Keep reading.
Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed the king over Israel and delivered thee out of the hand of Saul.
Right. The Lord, now it's finna go on Nathan listing the things that the Lord did for David. Right. Let's keep reading.
And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah, And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
Right, because the Lord is saying, look, man, if you wanted more, you could have asked, brother. You didn't have to go take. You didn't have to go do what you did. You could have asked, and I would be given, right? That's what the scriptures say. Ye have not because ye ask not. Ask, and it shall be given unto you, right? Keep reading.
Verse 9, wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight?
Uh-huh.
Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife,
Uh-huh.
and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
So you see right here how, again, when it comes to understanding judgment, you got to remember that you are not far above reproach, brother. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that when you're somebody who's receiving a special type of rebuke, you know what I'm saying? When you're someone who's giving that rebuke, always give rebuke with the mindset of, I'm not just telling you this because I'm not going to get corrected. I'm telling you this because you're going to get corrected and it has nothing to do with me. No. 31 did a good job of saying, look, you got to get right, because if you do wrong, not only are you going to get in trouble, but I'm going to get in trouble too. I have to hold you accountable, and by doing so, I'm holding myself accountable. He's keeping in mind that the same judgment that he's issuing out is the same judgment that could come back on him. Because in sports, people watch film, right? The same way the Lord right now is watching film day to day. The big eye in the sky don't lie. That's what my coach used to say all the time. And one thing about it is that if anytime we gave half-ass efforts, Salakia for the language, but anytime we gave half effort on the field, you know what I'm saying? Even when I played basketball, I gave half effort on the court. You know what I'm saying? Even me being a coach now, anytime my players would give half effort, they may think you don't notice that stuff, but hey, the big eye in the sky don't lie. You watch film, and them same mistakes are being brought up in the film room by the coaches, right? And you don't want it to get to the coaches. You don't want what am I trying to say real quick? You don't want to wait until it gets to the coaches to be addressed. If you have a teammate or a brother or a sister, somebody that can help get your issues in order, tell you what you should be doing better because it affects all of us, and you understand that and hearken unto it, then take that route. Because Tupac started this thing where it's only God can judge me, and now everybody thinks that's a biblical scripture. And one time I seen a post and said, man, look, you would rather be judged by your peers than wait until God does it, because if God does it, you're not going to like it for real, for real. That's eternal judgment, right?
Yeah, man. And it's also about chemistry, right? On that field, I know, especially in the pros, but even before you get to the pros in athletics or sports or in any team building exercise, chemistry is always on the side of the winner. Whoever wins has the best chemistry. And you see that over and over and over again, right? When we look at the NBA, we know that all these players are great, but who has the best chemistry? Who plays together the best? You could put 3 of the best superstars on the same team, but if they have no chemistry, they're going to have a losing season. Same thing with football, man. You got to see, do your DBs connect? Can they read each other without saying anything to each other? Do they know how to pick up on what this person lacks, X, Y, and Z? Is your safety going to sync with your defense and know how to cover whatever? You know what I'm saying? So the chemistry, or, you could look at Brett Favre and his favorite guys, or Tom Brady, his favorite guys on the team. The GMs and everybody, they know not to split certain people up because of chemistry, right? Even when me and Ashton were twins, or brother Denal was twins, right? And when we played sports, if I'm having a bad practice, Denal is going to come up to me and he going to tell me, hey, bro, if you look bad, it's going to make it look like both of us look bad because we look like the same person on the court. And vice versa, same with me. If he's doing bad, I'm like, bro, we got to get it together, right? Because it's not just one of us, it's 2 of us, right? And so chemistry is what moves people along. And in this truth, right, as Israelites, that's something that Christ saw on the earth, was that we lacked chemistry. We lacked love for one another. We lacked intent, right? And we lack the will to do good for one another, man. And that's because we have no chemistry with each other. We'd rather look for chemistry with other nations than chemistry with each other. And that's why we're losing in this game of life right now.
Right. And that's the biggest thing, man. It's facts over feelings. The reason I titled this lesson that is because what is true is more important than the way you feel about the truth, right? And one thing you come to realize in this life is people really don't want the truth for real. They just want their version of it. They want to have their cake and eat it too. But a lot of times you can't do that because it's going to cost me. Like, we tell our people to stop sinning and stop going out here committing commandments, transgressions against the commandments of the Lord, because it doesn't affect just them. It affects us. You know what I'm saying? We as a people can't get to a better state. It's not like, oh, well, I'm keeping the commandments, I'm Gucci. That's them. It's not two separate communities. It's everybody together. You have people that keep the commandments and people that don't, right? And the people that are striving to do the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord are being affected by those who don't want to hearken into that message. And it's affecting everybody, right?
Yeah, man. It only take one sinner to mess it up for the whole people, for everybody, bro, to mess it up for the whole nation. Because we could be doing good for 5 years, right? Let one Israelite person mess around and do something wicked. Now the Israelites is punished just for that one wickedness that one person did, instead of thousands of us doing the right thing, right? So that's why it's important for all of us to be on the same page, because we don't get on the same page, man, we'll never be recognized or feared after like we're supposed to be.
Con, I want to read these last two scriptures and then I'll shut it down. But I want to read these last two real quick, because while we're giving all this wisdom about, you know, we've seen an example of this gentleman right here. We've seen an example of how this gentleman, not him, not Coach Bill O'Brien at the time, but number 43, we've seen how he handled the situation. But now let's see how David handles the situation where he was held accountable, right? We're going to read verse number, let me see. I guess let's just read starting at 10, and then we'll just breeze through it.
2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 10. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken thy wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of his son.
Verse 12.
Verse 12. But thou didst it secretly,
right?
I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun.
Before who?
Before the sun.
Right. He said he's going to do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. Now, 5 and 20, real quick. Go back to 1 Timothy 5 and 20.
Hey, while he getting that too, you know, it said that David did it secretly, and it also said that you killed Uriah the Hittite by the sword of Ammon, meaning that David thought he got around the sin. A lot of us in the truth, a lot of us in life, we think we get around the sin with loopholes and things of that nature. But even if you somehow find some type of loophole to where you're not technically doing it, the Lord is still charging you with that sin. So I just wanted to say that for all those that, you know, think that they done got away with something and they're sinless.
Right. If you order a hit on somebody, right, you ordered the hit. Just because you didn't pull the trigger doesn't mean that in the court system today you can't be found guilty. You know what I'm saying?
Or if you know, man, if I tell so and so, it's over with for them, and you go ahead and tell so and so, I ain't do nothing. I ain't, man, you did that though, right? So inadvertent sin is still sin on your behalf, man. So
right,
let it be known.
1 Timothy 5:20, it says, them that sin rebuke before all, that others also may fear, right? This is what the Lord is finna do. He's finna rebuke David before all, so everybody else know, hey, this man did something, right? But now we're going to jump down verse number 13. Read that.
Verse 13. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
Right. So the difference between 43 and David, right, is that David said, dang, I sinned before the Lord. He didn't tell Nathan, bro, why are you coming at me like this? Like, why are you, you know what I'm saying? He didn't address anything other than what he should have addressed with Nathan, and that's the fact that he sinned. And that's what it should have. That's what should have happened with 43. He should have realized, dang, you're right. My communication does have to be better. I apologize. Next series, I'm gonna get it right. Because 43 is saying, look, there ain't no guarantee next series. They'll see that they don't like you throughout practice and cut you tonight. And you ain't gonna have tomorrow to come back and look good on tape. My first college, the Lord is my witness, man. It's a brother that we know went to college with us. His name is D Wet, right? He now he's doing a lot of big things as a social media, right? Making videos, creating content, making music. But that brother, I'm not even saying that because he's getting a little notoriety now, but that brother, he was the first person in college to rebuke me for terrible play. It was one morning practice. I was coming off the ball, man. And one thing as a defensive lineman that you're supposed to do is stay in your gap and not let nobody wash you down, especially on a double team. You're not supposed to get washed out of your gap. And 2016, my freshman year of college, we played a gap sound defense. So we played Okie, which is a 3-front defense, and it has responsibilities that you have to be in that gap in order for the defense to work. So nonetheless, it was a double team. I came off the ball and I got washed down and pancaked, man, to the sideline. And I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the worst practice I ever had. And one thing I heard D West saying, man, Foster Ford, you gotta do better, bro. You gotta do better, bro. You too big for that. You too big for that, bro. That's a bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just going off on me, man. My coach didn't even say nothing. My coach just looked at me and said, get up, run, 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 because we had to run to the ball. Nonetheless, that practice right there made me realize that, hey, it's a whole different ball game in college, man. And the next day I came out and I balled like Michael Jordan. Even my head coach said that, no cap. But I'm just saying that.
I can't imagine you getting pancaked, bro.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie.
What's going on?
Look. It's being pancaked as a defensive lineman. It's literally a lot of times has to do with body positioning, right? If you don't have good body positioning or good balance, it can just happen just like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody just overpowers you and just takes you over. But a lot of times, bro, you get nudged the wrong way, and that's how it happened, bro. Just like that time I fell off the horse, bro. I fell off the horse not because the horse bucked me off, but because the horse shifted and I just couldn't control my body weight. Fell. You know what I'm saying? But it happens like that, though. And, yeah, I definitely got pancaked a couple times in college, man. I'm not even going to cap about it. I found myself on the ground a few times, man. But one thing I always did, bro, I got back up and I went and made a play the same day, somehow, some way, bro. I'm not even capping. But that was one of the moments that I said he rebuked me openly, and everybody seen it. It was on film, but it's about how I handled it. I could have told him, bro, chill, bro. It ain't that deep. I could have said, bro, you doing too much. But I just ate it, bro. I had no choice. But ask Kevin Porter right now. He the head coach at Central State. Ask him that very next day what I came back and did. Luckily, the Lord had mercy on me, and I had a next day to come to be able to go out and do that. But ask him what I did the very next day. Balling, right? But nonetheless, man, that's how anybody should handle rebuke, man. Facts over feelings, right? If it's a fact that you're having a piss poor performance, take it on the chin and get better, right? And it's a fact that our people are out here sinning. So to my brothers and sisters who may not be aware of the truth or the commandments or what we teach, please don't get offended by the way we bring the word out or what we say, you know what I'm saying, what we're calling out. We're doing this as the Lord commanded us to per Ezekiel 33. And we're only doing it to hold you accountable and hold ourselves accountable that we as a nation may be better. Because I'm not trying to get cut from the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But with that, man, I ain't got nothing else. Brothers got anything to add?
Jeremiah 17:4, man, talks about us being discontinued from our heritage because of what somebody else on the team did, our forefathers, man. So don't think of yourself as small. Think of yourself as a major part in this chemistry. But Shalom.
With that, we say Shabbat Shalom, man. Want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High God, and facts over feelings, man. Always remember that. But Shalom.
Good.